Good morning, friends. So, I have my Libya rock. And regarding, the series being discussed, well, I found one with 3. Did he have the one with 4 in the series? You know, I like the colors on these better than this one I had anyway. It's the nicer colors. So anyway, part 2 of my video is talking about the series Rubik, which is a Libyan drama series from 2017 or 2018, thereabouts. And I wanted to talk about my inspiration and methodology also, firstly. Just things on language YouTube in general. Luke Ranieri, who does Polymathy and Scorpio Martionis channel, and he focuses on Latin and ancient Greek there, has talked about watching Star Trek dubbed into Italian, just as a more fun way of learning languages. And Ollie Richards has talked about the series Friends being dubbed into different languages as well. I haven't tried Star Trek, and Friends is not really my thing, so I decided just to jump into this with Libyan Arabic. Also, Stephen Krashen on language acquisition and comprehensible input, words being used in context. And the reason I like, at this point especially, beginning, I like videos better than, audiobooks. Also, words and days, he talked about on YouTube. He talked about watching Spider-Man 100 times in Spanish. Anyway, the same idea, but back to Crashin'. The reason I like videos better than audiobooks and podcasts, audio-only podcasts and things, is because you see the action happening on the screen, just like the way little children watch cartoons, focusing on the exciting action on the screen and the emotional content of the story and things like that. So it is more fun also to learn things in that way than, the grammar translation method. And also, when a verb is being said on the screen, very often the person is doing the thing. Marwan is saying to Marwan, to shuf a Rubik, like an MSA Shahada. In Libyan and some others, I think, they use this shuf for to look at something. So, and then there's the N sound that happens sometimes in the first person present tense. N shuf, a Rubik. I wasn't looking at it, so N shuf, el Rubik. And Krashen also talks about low anxiety, whereas, of course, some people more than others in classroom settings may feel anxiety around test taking or speaking in class, especially at the very beginning of when they're learning a language. A low anxiety context is supposed to enable better learning or faster learning and so on, and just being interested in the story and characters. And I think that's a thing Ollie Richards also talks about. So anyway, I was being my own guinea pig in a way and learning, trying at least to learn Libyan Arabic in a way that is different than the way I learned German and Latin in school. I majored in German, and it's been like 30 years since I learned Latin, but I'm trying to get back into that as well since a couple of years ago. So it is just sort of an experiment on myself. So I had forgotten to include, shuf and all the verbs in the first video. And I think there are characters who say I love you a couple times in here also. So that's another thing that, depending on the area, of course there are different versions of different words used in different regions, just like when I was in Germany, and we were ordering cheese and brötchen in the open air markets, and you had to ask for a Semmel in southern Germany rather than a brötchen with your Käse, and also how January is Jänner in Austria and Januar in Germany. But as I see it now, any vocabulary is good vocabulary for me. I need like a foundation to start with. So anyway, enhib. So rather than, ohib, a Rubik, or ohibik or ohibik, talking to a man or a woman, it might be an enhibik, a Rubik, to say, I love you to a Libyan Rubik's Cube specifically, which is a situation we all run into, I'm sure.
انتي تعرفيني قديش نحبك.
So yes, regional variations. And now I just want to play with this. I wish I had gotten the 4 one rather than the 3 one. Oh well. It just said, classic. I'm like, okay. Thirdly, so much smoking in this series.
حشيش هذا.
It's not my drug of choice. No.
اوكي ولا يهمك ارقد ارتاح وخليني هنا نعول على طاستي متاع الشاي هاي.
I like the shay and the kawa. Not the smoking so much. But I also like the gangsters. They're drinking the was it here portocali rather than, in American or British or European films they would be drinking whiskey or something. Certainly. So I enjoy that a lot. You love to see it. The gangsters drinking orange juice. Also in the first episode, the mirror scene, and he seems to be pronouncing it something like Myra.
أنا والمراية مش أصحاب.
He says, مشكل في الميرا.
المشكلة مش في وجهي. المشكلة في المراية.
Rather than, I think MSA is more like Mura. It also reminds me of the opening scene of Silent Hill 2, which I was just on a podcast discussing earlier today. The remake of, rather. The original was like 20 years ago. No, and relatives. The different names for members of your family. Marwan says Omi and Bui. So
انحرمت من أمي ومن بوي. انحرمت من عيلة نكون فرد منها زي أي شخص تاني في الدنيا.
I assume, like, for Abu Marwan, we just remove the Aleph, and we may say Abu Marwan, but Marwan says Bui. Also, Wafa in the scene says something to her dad.
حاضر يا ابوي.
Though I think though I think Marwan calls Nuria auntie rather than him, and cousins or simply the sons or daughters of aunts and uncles, so that's easy enough. And there are different terms in MSA also of, whether it's your paternal cousin or maternal cousin, which is the same in Latin as well. They have Mater Terra, Avunculus, and so on. I made a family tree for that on my Latin page. I'm not sure which one's related to Marwan's mother or father. Wafa is, therefore bint Khala or bint Em. I'm not sure the exact relationship there, but there's also Wild. Nuria says to Marwan's mother that Marwan is like her son and says Wildy rather than Eben. Wild and bint. And Amira's mother, when talking about Amira talking on the phone all the time,
انت ما تعيش من اللوكلوك والدواء في الموبايل.
I remember we called it Hindi in Germany.
في الموبايل.
I didn't even have one back then. That was some years ago. Didn't have a Hindi. Mobile, as it were. Amira also says Rogum rather than the Rogum sound.
خذ. هذا رقمي.
And Wafa talks about dinars and dollars.
فازو الكبير ب35 دينار.
And she says, whether it's dinar wahid or several, it's not, as in MSA, I think it was dinar.
كل شيء حطه فيه في راس الدولار.
Or multiple dinars. 1 dinar, 10 dinars. That goes back to the losing the declension. The word order is telling us what's happening to which thing, so we don't really need that so much. And also why I suppose they say you sound like an old-timey person if you're going around talking MSA, like you're going around Italy talking Latin. I think that may be all my notes today. But also got these books which I haven't very much started reading yet by Ethan Chorin. So I've started reading the Translating Libya, which has short stories by Libyan authors. So that should be a lot of fun and of great interest. I'll mention that there as well. And language-related things I have to mail out. I just... people have asked, well, why Libyan Arabic? And I had listened to many kinds of Arabic, and it just sounded nice also. And because Libya has an interesting history, and again, it's not Egypt, so it's less popular, so that was appealing as well. Needs more signal boosting, I suppose, in some areas. So, anyway, here's, and I've been posting some of the Libyan foods I've been making and things like that. Also on my Substack, which is Amy Ballot 1, I think. Art and Latin language related materials on my Etsy, which is like Etsy shops Amy Ballot, or if you just search for Amy Ballot, it should come up. But thanks for watching, and I will try to watch some more and take more notes, but I've definitely felt like now that I've been taking more notes and rewatching things, that I'm definitely understanding a lot more than I did the first time around when I watched through the series, just, for the story and things, and to see what I could already understand. That's been cool. Feels good to understand the things. I also have been watching some just random Libyan blogs and Libyan recipe videos on YouTube, just to learn about places and foods and things, and to see what I could understand of things without subtitles. So that's been fun as well. So, later, friends.
We'll return after these messages.